Eli Grant stood at attention on the command bridge of the Galactic Fleet cruiser Nocturne, the hum of the ship's core echoing through the steel floor. It was his first time meeting an alien royal, and not just any royal, the vampire queen of Varian. Seraphine, her reputation traveled faster than any ship. Tales of her draining enemies on the battlefield and charming admirals into surrender. The bridge doors opened with a hiss, and cold mist rolled across the floor. From that mist stepped Seraphine, tall, graceful, her skin pale like moonlight. Her crimson eyes glowed softly beneath her silver crown. The crew froze, unsure whether to bow or salute. Eli's throat went dry. He had never seen a creature so terrifying, and so beautiful. Her armor shimmered like liquid shadow, and when her gaze met his heart forgot how to beat. She stopped in front of him. "You are the human officer they sent to assist me," she said, her voice a melody and a threat in one. Eli nodded too fast. Yes, Your Majesty," he blurted, trying to sound confident. Her lips curved in the faintest smile. "You fear me," she said, not asking, but stating, No, not really," he stammered. Then, for reasons even he couldn't explain, the words tumbled out. "You have a nice body." The entire bridge went silent. Every crew member turned in horror. One dropped a data pad that shattered on the floor. The commander's eyes widened in disbelief. You could hear the engines breathing. Seraphine blinked once, her gaze sharpened like a blade, then softened. She tilted her head slightly, studying Eli as if he were some strange new creature. "You dare compliment a queen of blood?" she asked, her tone curious, not angry. Eli's brain screamed for him to apologize, but his mouth betrayed him again. "It's just, you look strong, majestic." Something ancient stirred in Seraphine's expression. Her red eyes flickered with a strange light, not fury, but something far older. Then she smiled, slow and dangerous. "How fascinating," she whispered. She took a single step closer, and Eli could smell her, not of blood, but of frozen air and dark flowers. Her hand rose, tracing a clawed finger along his collar. "The crew dared not breathe, human," she said softly. "You speak to me as if I were mortal. I just—" "Speak my mind," Eli muttered, trying not to faint. She leaned close enough that her breath brushed his ear. "Then let me speak mine," she said. "I have not been spoken to like that in 1,000 years." A low hum filled the air. The lights dimmed. The ship's sensors flickered as her power flared. The air around her shimmered crimson. The commander reached for the alarm, but Seraphine's eyes flashed, and his hand froze mid-motion. "Stand down," she said without turning. "Your officer has earned my attention." She looked at Eli again. "You have spirit," she whispered. "I wonder how much of it I can taste." Eli swallowed hard. His legs trembled, but his voice and somehow stayed steady. "You'll have to catch me first." For a heartbeat, the entire bridge seemed to stop existing. Then Seraphine laughed, a sound that echoed through the ship like dark music. The consoles flickered back to life, and the crew exhaled in disbelief. She turned away, the mist following her like a cloak. "Prepare my quarters," she commanded, "and bring the human officer with me." The commander tried to protest, "Your Majesty." "Protocol was rewritten the moment he spoke," she said without looking back. Eli stood frozen, caught between pride and panic. As the queen disappeared through the doors, she whispered over her shoulder, her voice just loud enough for him to hear, "You shouldn't have said that, human." The doors closed, and the crew stared at Eli like he had signed his own death sentence. "Congratulations," muttered the helmsman. "You just flirted with a death goddess." Eli forced a shaky grin. "Yeah, and I think she flirted back." But deep inside, something told him this was no ordinary encounter. The compliment had woken something ancient, something dangerous, and as the Nocturne drifted deeper into uncharted space, the crew could feel it too. An unseen tension that pulsed in the ship's heart. They didn't know it yet, but the fate of two species had just changed, and it all started with one reckless compliment. The next morning aboard the Nocturne, the ship felt different, colder somehow. The crew avoided Eli's gaze, whispering as he passed. Everyone had seen what happened. The Queen of Blood laughing at a human's foolish compliment. It was unheard of. Eli pretended not to notice. He stood at his station, trying to focus on the sensor readings, but his mind replayed Seraphine's words over and over. "You shouldn't have said that. Human." Her voice lingered like a shadow in his skull. The door behind him opened. The temperature dropped again. Queen Seraphine entered, moving with silent grace. Every officer stood at attention. She didn't even glance at them. Her eyes went straight to Eli. "Step forward," she commanded. Eli hesitated, then obeyed. His heart raced. "Yes, Your Majesty," he said quietly. She circled him like a predator studying prey. "Last night you spoke with courage. Or stupidity," she said. "Either way, it deserves recognition." Before he could respond, her finger brushed his neck. A cold sting burned into his skin. He gasped. A faint crimson mark appeared, glowing like fire under his collar. The crew shouted in alarm. "She marked him!" Someone cried. Seraphine turned her head slowly. "Indeed," she said, "he carries my symbol now, a sign of favor." The commander took a cautious step forward. "Your Majesty, with respect. Our regulations forbid psychic binding." Seraphine's eyes flashed. "Do you intend to lecture me about rules, mortal?" "No, ma'am," the commander whispered, stepping back. Eli touched his neck. What did you do to me?" Seraphine smiled faintly. "I gave you protection, human. No harm shall come to you while I live." "But," Eli frowned, "why me?" She looked away for a moment, her voice softening. "Because you spoke to me as no one has in centuries. You reminded me that fear is not respect." Her words confused him. But before he could answer, the alarms blared. "Unknown vessels approaching," the navigator shouted. "Reading multiple warp signatures, Bloodhunter-class ships." The crew froze. Bloodhunters were the worst kind of predators. Ancient enemies of Seraphine's people. They hunted her kind for their essence, a crimson energy said to grant immortality. Seraphine's expression darkened. "They found me," she murmured. "How?" The commander looked at her in shock. "They're tracking you? You led them here?" Eli stepped forward. "Hey, don't talk to her like that." The commander turned on him. "You stay out of this, officer. You don't understand what she is." Seraphine raised her hand. "Enough," she said, her tone icy. "Prepare for battle. We will not run." As the crew scrambled, Eli caught her gaze again. Her eyes burned brighter. "You feel it, don't you?" she asked. He blinked. "Feel what?" "The bond," she whispered. "My essence flows through you now." Eli's pulse quickened. His vision flickered. For a split second, he saw what she saw. The approaching hunter ships. Their metallic fangs, their blood-red banners. He staggered back. What was that? Seraphine didn't answer. Instead, she stepped closer. "Stay near me when they board. You are connected to me now if you die." "Part of me dies too," the commander overheard and went pale. "He's linked to you? That's impossible." Seraphine gave a small, cold smile. Impossible is a human word. Moments later, the ship shook violently. The first Bloodhunter boarding pod slammed into the hull. Eli gripped his console. "They're cutting through." Seraphine drew back her cloak, revealing curved blades forged from living crystal. "Then let them come," she said. "I haven't fed in a very long time." Eli felt the mark on his neck pulse in sync with her heartbeat. Every time she inhaled, he felt strength rising in his veins, his senses sharpened. His fear melted into something else, something hungry. The first hunter burst through the hatch. Its skin was black steel and its mouth filled with wires. It screeched, "Surrender the Queen of Blood!" Seraphine moved faster than sight. Her blade cut through the alien's throat. Black mist spilling into the air. Eli stood frozen as more hunters poured in. He could hear her voice in his mind now. "Stay close. Human." He ducked behind a console as energy blasts filled the air. He returned fire, but his aim was perfect. Unnaturally perfect, every shot hit a target. Seraphine looked at him mid-battle, surprise flickering in her eyes. "Your instincts are growing," she said aloud. "The mark is working," the commander yelled from behind a damaged console. "She's turning him into one of them." Seraphine's tone was sharp. "No, I'm awakening what was already inside." Within minutes, the last hunter fell, its body dissolving into black dust. The ship fell silent again. Eli wiped his face. Shaking, "They wanted you." "But why?" Seraphine turned toward the viewport. "Because I carry something they crave, eternal life." She looked back at him, her expression unreadable. "And now human? So do you." Eli stared at her in disbelief. "What are you saying?" Her eyes glowed faintly red. "Your blood and mine are one, Eli Grant. You have become more than you were." The bridge lights flickered once more, and in that strange red glow, the crew realized something terrifying. Their human officer no longer looked entirely human, and the Queen of Blood was smiling. Not in hunger this time, but in curiosity. "Let us see," she whispered. What your kind can truly become. The Nocturne floated in silence above the red storm clouds of an unknown world. Hull plates smoked, warning lights pulsed crimson. The crew patched the wounds of battle, but no one dared speak to Eli Grant or Queen Seraphine. Fear hung thicker than the recycled air. Eli sat near the medbay window, staring at his reflection. His eyes, once blue, now gleamed faint silver. His pulse was slower, his mind sharper. Every sound, every heart on the ship, he could hear it. He didn't understand how. But Seraphine's mark had changed him. The door slid open without sound. Seraphine entered, her long cloak brushing the floor like liquid night. "You survived well," she said quietly. Eli tried to smile. "Because of you," she tilted her head. "No. Because of us." He looked down at his hands. "They're scared of me." "They should be," she said, stepping closer. "You carry my essence. Human and vampire blood inside one body. Something no empire ever dared attempt." He frowned. "You mean I'm your experiment?" Her eyes softened. "No, Eli, you are my proof." Before he could ask what that meant, the ship trembled again. Sirens screamed. Multiple warp signatures. "Hundreds this time," shouted the helmsman over comms. "The blood hunters are regrouping." Seraphine's expression turned to ice. "They never retreat, they harvest. They know I'm weakened after the fight." Eli grabbed his rifle. "Then we fight again." The commander stepped forward, shaking his head. "We can't. They'll tear us apart. We need to hand her over." The crew gasped. Seraphine's eyes flared crimson. "Try it," she whispered. The commander froze mid-step as her telepathic power pressed on his mind. Blood dripped from his nose. Eli moved between them. "Stop." "He's scared, that's all." Seraphine released the commander, her voice suddenly quiet. "Fear is a disease. It spreads faster than war." She turned toward the viewport, the swarm of enemy ships growing larger. "They won't stop until I'm dust." Eli placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then let's make them choke on it." For a moment she said nothing. Then a small smile curved her lips. "Very well. My reckless human," she whispered. "Let them see what your species is made of." The crew gathered at battle stations. Plasma turrets armed, shields flared blue outside. The blood hunters deployed boarding pods, dozens of them, falling like black comets. Seraphine stood in the center of the bridge, her blade drawn. "Do not fear them, they smell fear." Eli stood beside her, pulse steady. The mark on his neck glowed faint red. He felt her power surge through him like electricity. The first boarding pod tore open the hull. Metal screamed. Hunter soldiers poured in, skeletal figures wrapped in armor of living flesh. Their leader's voice echoed, "To surrender the Queen, and your deaths will be swift." Eli raised his weapon. "Not happening," he said. Seraphine spread her arms and the lights flickered out. Darkness swallowed the ship. Only her red eyes glowed. The hunters hesitated, then shadows moved. Seraphine vanished, and the screaming began. She struck faster than sight, a blur of motion and silver blades. Eli fired in perfect rhythm with her. His shots burned holes through alien skulls. He didn't aim. He knew where to aim through the bond. He felt her emotions, cold precision, hunger, a strange warmth when she looked his way. The battle raged across the corridors. The crew fought harder than ever, inspired by the impossible sight. A human and a vampire fighting side by side. When the smoke cleared, only one hunter remained. Their leader. Its voice crackled like broken glass. "She is cursed. She carries the seed of eternity." Seraphine's eyes narrowed. "You know nothing of my curse," the creature laughed. "Then why does your blood sing in his veins?" Eli stepped forward. "What are you talking about?" The hunter pointed a claw at him. "You are not her pet, human. You are her key, the first of your kind who can carry her power without dying." Before Seraphine could react, the hunter detonated itself. A surge of red energy flooded the ship. The explosion rocked Nocturne, throwing everyone to the floor. When the smoke cleared, Seraphine lay motionless. Eli rushed to her side. Her skin was pale, even paler than before. He touched her hand. "Hey, stay with me." Her eyes flickered open. "He spoke truth," she whispered weakly. "They seek to awaken the ancient bloodline within me, and now it runs in you." Eli's throat tightened. "Then we end them before they try again." Seraphine smiled faintly. "You sound like a king already." Eli looked out the shattered viewport. The stars glimmered coldly beyond. "Maybe it's time humanity stopped kneeling," he said. And in that quiet, broken bridge, the crew realized the war had just changed. The hunters were no longer chasing a queen. They were hunting a new kind of monster, and this time that monster was half human. The Nocturne drifted among the ruins of battle. The stars outside looked like silent witnesses. Their light pale and cold. Inside the ship, the wounded groaned. Machinery hissed and fear hung in the recycled air. Eli Grant sat beside the unconscious queen in the medbay. Seraphine's skin shimmered faintly with silver veins. Her breathing was slow. Each pulse of her heart echoed in his own chest, as if the two beats had become one. He hadn't slept in 2 days. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the blood hunter's last words. "You are her key." The door slid open. Commander Voss entered, his uniform torn, his face drawn. "Grant," he said. "The crew wants answers." Eli stood, his voice steady but cold. "About what?" Voss pointed to the glowing mark on Eli's neck. "About that you're changing. The scanners show your cells rewriting themselves. You're not fully human anymore." Eli looked at Seraphine's still body. "I didn't ask for this." "But it's happening," Voss said, "and the crew's scared. They think she's turning you into one of them." Eli clenched his fists. "Maybe being one of them isn't as bad as being one of us." Voss frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" Eli's eyes flashed silver for a moment. "It means maybe humanity isn't as pure as it pretends to be." Before Voss could respond, the medbay lights dimmed. Seraphine's body began to glow faintly red. Her voice echoed in Eli's mind, soft but powerful. "Do not fear the change. My human." Eli leaned closer. "Seraphine?" Her eyes opened slowly. 2 crimson orbs locked on him. "You hear me now because the bond is complete," she said weakly. "We are connected beyond flesh." He shook his head. "You almost died." "I thought—" "I cannot die while you live," she interrupted gently. "Our essences are bound. You have tasted a fraction of my eternity." Eli stepped back, trying to process. "I didn't want this." Seraphine sat up slowly, her movements graceful despite her weakness. "Neither did I. But destiny rarely asks permission." The medbay door burst open and the alarms blared. "Contact! The hunter's fleet is back. 10 ships, maybe more," shouted the helmsman over comms. Voss swore. "We can't fight them again. We're crippled." Seraphine stood, her strength slowly returning. "They will not stop until they claim us." Eli grabbed his rifle. "Then we give them something they'll never forget." Seraphine looked at him with both pride and sorrow. "You are becoming what they fear most, a bridge between light and shadow." Eli felt the mark on his neck burn brighter. His heartbeat slowed. His vision sharpened until he could see every trembling molecule in the air. The transformation was almost complete. He felt hunger, not for blood, but for purpose. "What do I need to do?" he asked. Seraphine touched his chest lightly. "Accept it," she whispered. "Embrace what you are becoming." Pain lanced through his body. He fell to his knees, gasping. His veins glowed red, then silver. His skin shimmered under the medbay lights. The crew watched in stunned silence through the glass. His scream echoed through the corridors, not in agony but in rebirth. When it ended, Eli stood tall, his eyes now pure silver, his breath calm. The mark on his neck had turned into a sigil that pulsed like a second heart. Seraphine looked at him with quiet wonder. "You are not my servant anymore, you are my equal." Voss whispered in awe. "What are you?" Eli turned, his voice deeper, colder, and yet strangely human. Something new. Suddenly, explosions rattled the ship again. The blood hunters were cutting through the hull. Eli clenched his fists. "Let them come." Seraphine smiled faintly. "Then fight beside me." "My creation." The hunters stormed the corridors, hissing and firing, but Eli moved like a blur. Bullets stopped mid-air as his aura flared. He struck with speed no human could match. Ripping through armored enemies like paper, Seraphine joined him, her blades singing in rhythm with his movements. It was as if they shared a single mind. The surviving hunters fell back, their leader screaming, "She has made another of her kind." Seraphine's voice cut through the chaos. "No," she said. "I made something greater." When the last hunter fell, Eli stood in the flickering red light, half bathed in blood, half in shadow. He turned to Seraphine, his voice steady. "It's over." She shook her head slowly. "No, my human, the real war begins now. They will come for us both, because together, we are evolution." The ship's alarms faded. Leaving only the hum of the engines, Eli looked at his reflection once more. Half human, half vampire, all warrior, and whispered, Then let them come. In that moment, the galaxy gained something it had never seen. Not a monster, not a savior, but a human reborn in darkness, carrying the light of defiance in his veins. And Queen Seraphine watched with a knowing smile, because she understood something the others did not. This was only the beginning. The Nocturne floated in the void, scarred but alive. Every corridor glowed dim red from emergency power, and every survivor felt the same uneasy silence. The calm before another storm. Eli Grant stood on the shattered bridge, his new silver eyes staring at the endless dark. Beside him, Queen Seraphine stood silent. Her cloak torn, her crown cracked, yet her presence still made the air hum with power. He could feel her heartbeat inside his chest. The rhythm no longer hers alone, but theirs. The calm shattered when the proximity alarm screamed. "Multiple war signatures detected," shouted the helmsman. "They're deploying a dreadnought, the Blood Ark." Seraphine's face hardened. "They've sent their godship," she whispered. "The vessel that carries the hearts of every blood hunter ever slain." Eli felt a strange heat rising through his veins. "Then we destroy it." Seraphine looked at him. Pride flickered behind her calm. "Even together, we cannot defeat that ship by force." He turned to her. "Then what choice do we have?" Her eyes dimmed slightly. "Only one, and it will cost everything." The bridge shook violently, red lightning flashing through the windows as the Blood Ark opened its maw, releasing tendrils of crimson energy that lashed across space. Seraphine stepped forward, her shadow stretching across the bridge like wings. "They want my blood, Eli," she said softly. "But they cannot take what is freely given." He frowned. "What are you saying?" "I can transfer my essence fully into you," she said. "Make you what they fear most, a being neither human nor vampire, but the perfect union of both." Eli's chest tightened. "That would kill you," she smiled sadly. "I have lived 1,000 years. I've seen empires rise and rot, but I have never seen someone like you, a human who faced me without fear." He shook his head. "No, there has to be another way." Her hand cupped his face, cold and gentle. "There isn't, my brave human," she whispered. "You were the spark, let me be the flame." Outside, the Blood Ark's cannons ignited. Streaks of red energy tore through space. Seraphine closed her eyes. "Do not resist," she said. The mark on Eli's neck blazed. Pain exploded through his body. His veins lit up with silver fire. He fell to his knees, screaming as her essence poured into him like a river of stars. The crew watched in terror and awe as Seraphine's body began to dissolve into mist, her form melting into light that wrapped around Eli. "Live well," her fading voice whispered in his mind. "Show them what humanity truly means." The transformation was complete. When Eli rose, the bridge fell silent. His skin glowed faint silver, his eyes blazed red and white. His voice carried both human warmth and vampiric command. "Helm," he said, "set course for the Blood Ark." "Full speed." The commander hesitated. "Sir, the ship—" "Now," Eli said, and the command deck obeyed. As the Nocturne plunged forward, Eli raised his hand and the space around them shimmered. Every weapon system powered up beyond known limits. His mind connected to the ship's systems directly. Merging man and machine, the Blood Ark opened fire. But Eli's power bent the beams aside, redirecting them into the Ark's own hull. He spoke through the comms, voice echoing like thunder. "You hunted her for eternity," he said. "Now face what you created." The Nocturne became a spear of light, cutting through the enemy formation. The impact ripped the Ark apart from within, explosions painting the void red and white. When it ended, silence returned. Only debris floated in the dark. The crew stared at the screen. The hunters were gone. Their fleet erased, Eli stood motionless, smoke rising from his armor. His voice was quiet. "She's gone." The commander stepped forward. "You saved us all." Eli shook his head slowly. "No. We saved each other." He looked out the viewport, toward the fading stars, and whispered, "You gave me your strength, Seraphine, but you also gave me something more. The will to protect." The mark on his neck glowed one last time before fading into his skin. Then through the silence of space he heard her voice. Faint, loving, eternal. "You gave me purpose, my human," Eli smiled. "And you gave me a reason to keep fighting." The Nocturne turned toward the next sunrise, its human vampire captain at the helm, a symbol of two worlds united by courage. The galaxy would remember this day. The day the Queen of Blood gave her life to create the first of a new kind. And that human, born of fire and shadow, whispered into the stars, "This is not the end. It's the beginning of what humanity can become."